about a lot is mentors and personal growth and stuff like that. So I think that's really good advice, because a lot of times people will ask me, how do I start a business? Well, I can tell you how to start a business, but I can't tell you much about a nonprofit. So maybe you can enlighten us a little bit. Like if someone wanted to start a nonprofit, what is the process?
Oh, you know what? My wife told me a while back, she goes, you do such great work, John. Why don't you start your own nonprofit?
Right?
It's so, well, on one hand, it's easy, start your nonprofit, but to start it and make it successful, I mean, you got to go through the grind. And maybe my expectations are too high because I always want to go to point A to point Z, as fast as possible. And I'm my biggest critic. But you get a lawyer, they'll help you come up with articles of incorporation. I did start a nonprofit 3 months ago. It's a sub corporation nonprofit. So, it costs you about $1,200. They fill out the paperwork. Boom, you got a nonprofit. Then you have to have certain requirements that you have to meet to maintain that nonprofit. You have to file public reports. You have to do certain filings every year, certain filings every 5 years. Best thing to do is go on the New Hampshire Center for Nonprofits.org. They've got a huge resource of materials on how to start a nonprofit. But let me tell you something. You asked me what are some of the difficult challenges. So I've been studying leadership since I was probably about 23, and both formally and informally. I went to school for it. I got my master's in it, leadership and organizational management. But I also, I remember as a young person, I was subscribed to Inc. magazine and would read all the management articles and leadership articles, read all these books. And I did it because I had a belief that there was a better way to work with people. And I was constantly bombarded with people that were just really bad people. Now, you own your own business, you can get rid of those people. But if you're part of a large nonprofit, it's like, well, so-and-so cares, I don't want to get rid of them, or, there's always some kind of thing that goes on. And so that's always been the biggest stumbling block. It's like you're working against other people to achieve your mission. So this is the first time that I had been able to be the CEO of an organization where I said, we're not going to have that. We're not going to have difficult people working with us. And so there are people who have left the organization. And as a result, our organization is like, it's humming, man. I mean, it's really cranking because people work well together. You can't see any tension anywhere. People are happy, they're motivated, they're trusted. And so much that you can do where I don't have to be hands-on for stuff. I can basically just kind of disappear,
Right?
and stuff's going to happen, and not just keeping it running. I'm talking about creativity, making it boom. I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah, team building is definitely important. Finding motivated people, finding good people is difficult because people have all kinds of challenges. I can't just say there are good people and bad people. Some people just have challenges. Life happens to people, and it changes their situation, their moods, and their intensity and their ability to focus. So it can be difficult.
Well, there are people who underperform. I'm not talking to people about people underperform. I mean, there's lots of people underperform. Sometimes I underperform. The thing is, you have those situations where somebody says, I was fired. It came right out of the blue. I had no idea. That should never happen in an organization. If somebody has to depart the organization, you should be having conversations with them about it. Be honest. Hey, I was really questioning why this happened. Oh, I messed up. Was this going to keep happening? You got to have that ongoing dialogue. So when it is time to leave, either the person resigns because it's like, hey, man, I'm dragging the organization down, or when you finally let them go, they thank you. They thank you for all your support over the years, and they leave on a really good note. I mean, that's the way it should be. But we're so afraid we build stuff up in our minds, right? Like, if you were working for me, Doug, and I had to criticize you about something, the typical thing that you would do is say, oh, I'm going to talk to Doug, and I'm going to, I'm working out in my head. I'm going to say it this way. I'm going to say it that way, going over it a million times. And at the same time, I'm thinking negative. Doug's going to get mad at me. Doug's not going to be my friend anymore. Doug's going to, talk about me to other people. I'm thinking all negative stuff. So now I'm building all this up inside. And when it's finally time to talk to you, Doug, either I chicken out, right, and keep putting it off, or when I talk to you, I'm nervous,
Right.
and I'm leading you into this, and I'm fight or flight, and I'm going to get defensive. So if you question me on anything, I get angry. This is the stuff that happens every day. So instead, what I do is, and this is what I tell my staff too, is think of everything positively. Oh my God, I'm excited to go in tomorrow and work. Why? Because I get to talk to Doug about what happened on Tuesday. And I know that Doug's going to appreciate it because Doug wants to do a new job, and all he wants is feedback so he can do a better job. And I trust Doug. He's going to do a great job because I know Doug wants to do a great job. And when you do it in that mentality, you come in relaxed. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, you could be my new personal cheerleader. I like the way that sounds when you phrase that.
It is, everybody thinks that way. The worst thing that's going to happen. It's the worst thing that's going to happen. And that's what builds up in your head. It's a terrible thing. It's a terrible thing. I always think about the positive outcome.